It's your AgNow Weather Report. I'm Meteorologist Matt Makens. In last week's report, we kind of went through a depth focus of the outlook for the next couple of weeks. I want to be more specific since this version is more about the corn, especially across the south. But what are the impacts this time of the year that we're watching out for? Obviously, a cold impact. Obviously, a moisture impact. Whether you still need a little bit more precip or you're hoping it holds off so you get the harvest in, depends on exactly where you are, right? So let's focus in on that. Overall, I'm worried about a frost or a freeze across the northern portions of the Corn Belt. That'll be the 9th and 10th of October. And then next week, from the 15th to the 18th, we'll have to worry about the possibility of some impactful cold across the central states. So temperatures beginning to increase their impact on the corn this season. What about the chance of actually hitting frost or a freeze? I've given you the probabilities here. Notice the west. The high probability Rocky Mountain areas, they're going to frost, they're going to freeze. Upper Midwest is a bullseye of very likely conditions to hit frost or a freeze over the next 10 days. Appalachians through New England. As far as most of the corn areas, say Des Moines, Omaha, southward into Oklahoma and northern Arkansas, we do have some pockets here where the probability does increase to hit at least 36 degrees. Now those probabilities, like right around in here, Osage country, they're relatively low, for the most part below 50%, but it's that time of the year where we're going to watch these probabilities of impactful cold temperatures increasing. And again, this is the probability of hitting 36 or colder during the next 10 days. So overall, I do think the biggest impact for central and northern corn areas is that frost and freeze on the way for Monday and Tuesday. And then we'll be watching out for this pocket of colder area, which will actually impact more of the corn producers for next week. So at least a slight chance to have some impactful cold for next week. What about the precip coming through? We have a lot of precip coming across the country for the next 7 days. There's bullseyes in the Pacific Northwest. There's bullseyes here across the south. More on that in a moment. And then for a lot of the corn areas, we have a good swath here of some water. So anybody that may still need that water, we're going to be looking at this deeper red area, and that covers a lot of Nebraska and southern South Dakota all the way out toward the Great Lakes. That's registering 2.5 to 3 inches of total precip on the way over the next 7 days. Maybe it's badly timed for you, or great. Again, depends on your case. What about the precip down here to the south? We're going to have more on that in a moment because that may be tropical system related and eyes on that. But in terms of impactful rainfall, how much is too much? Well, there may be too much in this pocket here from Kansas City to outside Omaha up towards Chicago, New England states down to the southeast. But this bullseye right in here, that goes from the 11th to October 12th to watch out for the potential of just too much water too suddenly. So there could be some isolated flooding there. Now, we mentioned the cold already, frost and freezing conditions. What about the risk that some of that precip not be in the form of rain? What if it's in the form of snow or ice, if the case may be? Those probabilities are very, very low. A probability of getting at least some snowfall, seeing some snowflakes, getting at least a trace of snow is highest to the Rocky Mountain West. There is some increase in the probabilities in parts of Nebraska and South Dakota. Yes, in Iowa and southern Minnesota, into Wisconsin. Yeah, we have some pockets here where the probabilities are at least on the map, but they're very low in probabilities to see some snow or frozen precip over the next week to 10 days. That's probably favorable for harvest or wrapping up the corn for this season. Now, I'm going to mention this a couple of times previously in this video, but we're watching, this is the tropical kind of outlook map that the Hurricane Center would use to say, hey, watch out for these areas. There's an area of disturbed weather down in Mexico, and it's going to cross into the Gulf. And the Gulf of Mexico is very, very warm. So we're going to supply a lot of energy into that disturbed weather area. Whether or not it turns into a tropical storm or hurricane, anything like that, it's too early in the game to say that. Just be watchful for that and potential impacts on Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, with some moisture headed that way. And on that precip map I showed you a few moments ago, stretching across the south, that's why I said may come with a tropical element. So we'll keep an eye on that one for you and have further updates on that in social media. Until the next AgNow Weather Report, Matt Makens here.